Yo, 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 what's poppin', what's crack-a-lackin', what's really good? Thank you for listening to The Rope Break, your source for news, opinions, and anything else that revolves around the world of professional wrestling. It is I, the quintessential stud muffin, the Isle of Samoa's answer to Ryan Gosling, the Polynesian Prince of Poon, JoeMaga. I am here with my boy. He is the only man in the world capable of breaking down the fourth wall while still keeping kayfabe. Shockmaster Grizz. Say what up to him, Grizz.
It's really good to have you back. Stop doing drugs.
Oh, man, listen to that accusation off the top.
Accusation? You were suspended.
Oh,
it's a drug
right.
test.
That's true. I forgot. I do a lot of drugs.
You know what I'm saying? You and, Brett the Hitman's still not here.
Yeah, he's locked up.
Brett the Hitman is in prison.
Yeah, he was riding in a car with Jim Duggan and RVD. And it's just, he last time I saw him, his mugshot has a 2x4 in one eye and a yin-yang sign in the other. That's how stoned he is.
Wow.
Yeah. So, listen, the inaugural Great Balls of Fire is in the books.
Is it?
I personally thought it was a good show.
Wow.
I did think it was a good show. There was all kinds of good stuff. Some okay matches. There was real blood. There was fake blood. There was attempted murder. There was a possible double turn.
I was overwhelmingly underwhelmed.
Okay. All right. Well, we can get to that then. Like I said, there was a possible double turn in one match, which we could kind of break down. Which
match?
The ambulance match.
Oh.
Could have been
kind of like
babyface. There was a lot of babyface stuff there from Braun Strowman. And
sure.
There was a lot of heel stuff from Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And now
but they both were in character. Like neither of them really changed anything.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, we'll get to it.
Sure.
There's a whole segment.
Yeah. Now we're headed into Smackdown's pay-per-view this week, Battleground. Weird build to that one. But there's been a couple matches added that we'll get down into later. Got tons of great stuff for you, as always, in this corner. That's turning into, like, my favorite segment.
Me too, man. I mean, we could probably run a weekly local independent wrrestling
We might get to
podcast.
that. We might get to that at that point at some point. I don't know when I'll ever find the time to do that. But we'll do that. But before we do all that, let's break it down into segment one.
We have the Gauntlet. This is our elaborate entrance where we tackle 5 of the week's most relevant topics and we address, redress, and undress them each in under a minute.
Excellent.
So this first topic here, this is near and dear to me, man. This is one of my favorite guys in any company for some time. Austin Aries has been released from the WWE. I mean, there's kind of... I guess we don't really know the true story behind this, right?
Only speculation that he, just like everybody else, he had heat.
Yeah,
he had heat, and he was unhappy. Now, we know a lot about Austin Aries, and we know some of the stuff that he's done in the past and some of the gripes that he's had in a lot of situations.
Everywhere he's gone.
I think the main thing was that he just didn't want to be in the cruiserweight division.
Right.
And then he was really upset that his WrestleMania match got put on the undercard after it wasn't, on the pre-show.
And it wasn't even on the DVD.
That was the big one.
Yeah.
You know what? Excuse me. That was the big one that he was upset about.
Yeah.
And we know.
And it was one of the best matches they did that night.
Exactly. And he's very outspoken, though. And we know that. And maybe he rubbed some feathers the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it reeks of CM Punk to me. You know, just, not getting what he wants, and, he's talented, and he deserves some,
Sure. Now, in this case, the WWE did release him.
Yes.
But he wasn't upset about it. He didn't ask for it. He went on record as to say.
Right.
Not like Cody or some of the other guys who've done it.
Yeah.
Alberto. But, hey.
Well, this is silly because now we're just rambling because I just completely segued. I apologize.
Sure, but we had to give them some background in case they didn't know.
We did.
Okay.
The question for this Gauntlet topic is, does he take the Cody Rhodes route and hit the indies hard, or does he hop back into bed with Global Force Wrestling?
I think that it would behoove him to sort of try and take the do-it-yourself independent route, like Cody or Young Bucks and things like that. But he's got so much history with GFW that maybe he should go back there. He could be a top guy there and, build himself back up to where he wants to be.
One thing that I just thought of now while you're saying that is they're short a top guy right now.
They are, and we'll get into some Del Rio stuff in a little bit. And I think, with Austin Aries that maybe he's right. Maybe he shouldn't have been in the Cruiserweight division.
Absolutely. Or at least, let him leave the Cruiserweight division as soon as that program with Neville, which elevated the Cruiserweight division, is done.
Yeah.
Right?
But at the same time, 205 Live is garbage.
Yeah.
And there's nobody moving. There's no storylines that are moving. And there's no great matches outside of Neville versus Aries.
Yeah.
So maybe he's right. Maybe he needs to go back to GFW and be the top guy.
Wow. That was perfect timing. Yeah, so please fire out that next topic.
So the Mae Young Classic is being taped this week, featuring a huge list of women from the independent scene in a giant tournament, i.e. Cruiserweight Classic and the UK tournament.
Dusty Rhodes.
Right. Most of whom we have not heard of. Does women's wrestling in general have enough buzz to warrant another show on the WWE network?
I think this particular show, it does, in my opinion. I think that this is going to build awareness and visibility to a lot of women that you otherwise wouldn't have seen, much like the Cruiserweight tournament was designed to do, and like it was achieving when they were treating it like a different show, a different product. It's not their fault it's not the wrestlers' fault that 205 Live is another WWE show with smaller guys.
Sure.
They should treat it differently.
Sure.
If they do that with the women here, then they'll succeed, I think.
I can't disagree with you. I think all these tournaments really do a good job of highlighting pro wrestling in a sport sense, sort of.
Love it.
And so I think that they can definitely do some good to these women with this tournament. I just don't know that we can have another show, like
right.
a long-running show.
Because they don't have a UK show.
Yeah, they've been trying to do that, and it hasn't worked out yet, and we saw the disaster. I just talked about it in the last topic that 205 Live is.
Well, yeah. Do you want to finish your point?
That's pretty. I mean, I don't think it can warrant another entire show. I love the tournament.
I agree. So then, Joe. Oh no, this is me. I'm sorry.
Brother.
So we've had 3-hour Raws for about 5 years as of this week.
Can you believe that?
I can, because it's been painful. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Regardless. When there was Smackdown, it was way too long. Now it's just kind of too long. Right. This is the first time that they've actually made a tease for what will happen next week on Raw, right? And
in these 5 years, it's been the first time since they've done that.
And it's with this Angle thing, basically, is what we're trying to say is that Kurt Angle said, "I'll see you next week. I love you," to somebody on the phone, Dixie Carter, and and I thought of that before I saw it on a dirt sheet too. By the way, I just want to acknowledge that. Should this be a new outlook for WWE going forward?
Yes, they should definitely go into business for themselves in that you hype the crowd, the audience, to see what is coming next week. You give them a cliffhanger. Isn't that TV 101? And I think that maybe you're not going to get just everyone's going to watch because we're WWE. Everyone's going to watch because it's Raw. We saw a huge decline in ratings over a number of years, and now we're climbing back up a little bit, and I think this is going to be one of the things that can catapult them into the realm that they want to be in. We're never going to see 1997 numbers.
No.
But we can go up by building some suspense and keeping these things going.
And, yeah, there's no way to disagree with that statement at all.
Right.
You're completely spot on. It just builds. It's not even just anticipation. It's like so many of these storylines die in the water. Yeah. Lately.
And it's not like they did a bad job of cleaning anything up on Monday night. They didn't leave anything on the table. They just said, "Hey, next week we're going to have this number one contenders match, and Kurt Angle's going to tell us what the hell's going on."
Exactly. I think that's we're doing good on time. It's you.
If you read between the lines, the WWE has helped set up Connecticut native and ECW original Justin Credible with some rehab for what he says is alcoholism. In these 2 videos that he put out last week, he hasn't done a video since. I'm going to go out there and say he doesn't look good. And B, he makes all sorts of claims and accusations, but they're very vague to a point. But then he calls out some certain names and then says a lot of what we hear is bullshit. I don't know exactly what we're hearing and what is bullshit or not. But when it comes to the fact of WWE bringing these guys who have had problems in the past and things like that into rehab and stuff, how much responsibility is on them for these matters? Like, do they have to do this stuff?
Okay. You mean like the rehab stuff?
Yeah, like is it their responsibility?
Oh, does WWE have to do it?
Yeah, is it their responsibility to send people to rehab?
I think that's a fantastic question. They've kind of taken it upon themselves, and I don't know if it's just because they have this concussion lawsuit, or if it's unfortunately even in sports circles, let alone pop culture circles, wrestlers die in their 40s, and it's just like, oh, another wrestler died.
Not anymore.
Well,
they're in their 60s now.
Wellness policy,
right?
They're all addicted to video games instead of substances.
Sure.
But I mean, in this guy's, in Justin Credible's case, you hear about like Sonny, you hear about a lot of these really sad stories, and they look for the help and they get it. That's what the real story is. If somebody wants the help, I think WWE should give it to them. I don't think WWE should be chasing people down and saying, "Here, go to rehab."
That's a great point. I actually agree with you on this one. I think it should be taken on a case-by-case basis. At the same time, though, there has to be a limit somewhere.
Sure.
You have to be able to draw the line. In my opinion, I know Justin Credible.
Right.
And
you worked with him over...
I did. And I just don't know...
A lot of people I know him,
Yeah. Maybe this time... Like, you got to draw the line somewhere, man. I know addiction's incredible, but if he's got that constant net, he's never gonna rise above it. I can't see that happening,
right.
Unfortunately.
Well, and again, Sonny also.
Right, and now you're throwing these accusations all over the place, and it gets to be a hairy mess,
Yeah, sure. The last Gauntlet topic we have tonight is a little, bit of a more levity. Dalton Castle and the Boys, who is just a riotous act in Ring of Honor. It's hilarious. It's amazing.
Definitely go watch the Bully Ray and Briscoe's match versus Dalton Castle and the Boys. That was a very, very funny match.
So that was at Best in the World.
Yep.
Which we didn't talk about this match because it was such a big deal that Christopher Daniels lost the belt to Cody, but. The Dalton and the Boys managed to wrest the World 6-Man Tag Team Championships away from the Briscoes and Bully Ray at Best in the World. They have yet to defend the titles that had only previously been held by the Kingdom. So you're looking at this and you're saying, well, how many 6-man tag teams are there? Like, the question actually stands to that point, real quick. Is there enough interest, at least in the United States? Because in Japan, in Mexico, you see these trios tag team matches all the time. Is there enough... Oh, yeah, go ahead. Is there enough interest, at least in the United States, to warrant a 6-man tag title of the world? And does Ring of Honor's roster support the existence of the championship, one that requires larger than usual groupings and promotes more intact stables company-wide?
Wow. So is the question just that there should be...
I guess the question is, like... Can Ring of Honor even... Do they have enough guys to have a 6-man tag team title?
Sure.
And is it a big enough deal for people to have one?
Listen, in the landscape of the way wrestling is going, there's tons of 6-man tags now. And they do trios rules, and they do... and New Japan has a 6-man tag, and there's all kinds of stuff like that. I think, sure, you can do this. It opens the world for more groups and more stables and things like that. And and who's to say you can't have a tag team within a 6-man who has the tag titles and stuff? I don't know. I like it.
It reminds me of like cruiserweight tag titles or knockouts tag titles, and it's like I just don't know if there's enough to go around.
Sure,
but
yeah, in the case of like a New Japan, there is like so many titles that it just gets like you have a match card like the G1 Climax preview. What was it called? The one in America a couple weeks ago.
I think it was just the G1 special.
The G1 special, right? Yeah, like every match was a title match.
Yeah,
well,
except the tournament for a title.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it was like an 8-man tag.
Right.
So
that was the Gauntlet. We'll kick it over to Shockmaster Grizz to introduce our next segment.
Right.
What?
Which segment we doing?
Oh, in this corner.
Okay. So our next segment is actually
this is a little out of order, but there's a lot going on in this corner. So.
It's great. I mean, every week it seems like we can talk about local wrestling at length.
Sure. And let's see what's the synopsis?
So in this corner is where we hype and highlight the fantastic professional wrestling that is going on right in our backyard. Not literally backyard wrestling. This is everything from homegrown talent to WWE Hall of Famers right here in the local indie scene.
I want to cover backyard wrestling at some point.
Why, man? We're all retired.
Does it? Okay, so that's a good question. Does it exist anymore? Are there backyarders?
It must. How could it not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Wrestling...
It's not like it was, though, with like rosters of like 10, 15 guys.
Well, I mean, Stone Cold and The Rock aren't there. You know what I mean? Like the personalities that are going to make these kids want to go outside and wrestle may or may not be there. But all the little kids I know wrestle dad in the living room. So what's the next step?
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. So tell me about PWA's 7th annual Tough 8 tournament that I don't even know. Did you say it? Yes.
The 7th annual is next year.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, this is the 6th annual.
It's all good.
And, you had a role. How was it?
I made my refereeing debut, which was
woo.
Thanks. It was fun. It was man, I sweat. I'm fat as fuck. Those are some hot lights, and it's just up and down. You know, it's great. I got to lose this weight, but no, it's fantastic. It was great to be a part of such a phenomenal show. It beat the pants off of Great Balls of Fire from a sitting there to watch wrestling standpoint.
Okay.
I'm so serious, man.
I don't listen.
I'm so serious.
I said at the top of this, I absolutely love, listen, whoever in Waterbury is calling me all the time after 8 o'clock at night, not that at the time matters, but I don't give a shit about your resort. I never stayed at your resort to begin with. So thank you for your Waterbury Resort award. The Coco Key is closed now in Waterbury. Doesn't exist anymore. Stop calling me and telling me that A, you want to give me some rewards to stay at your resort in fucking Waterbury, and B, stop calling me to tell me that you my small business has been approved for a loan. I don't have a small fucking business. I work for the number 2 radio company in the country. We're a huge corporation. That's all I do for a living. I don't have a small business that needs to be approved for a loan. Stop blowing my fucking shit up. Anywho. I can't imagine that.
I hope they're listening.
Because
that would be another listener. So that's good.
I can't imagine that a wrestling academy put on a better pay-per-view than one that was headlined by Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar in the world's best wrestling organization.
Falling asleep during Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe.
I loved that match.
I was, maybe I had overhyped it to myself.
Okay.
Maybe I was expecting both of them to be a little more active. Joe just kind of beat him up and then took an F5 and it was over.
Yeah, it was too short. But I didn't think it was boring.
All I'm saying is everybody who performed, at the Tough 8 tournament did a spectacular job.
Excellent. You included.
In all fairness, it wasn't a lot of students. It was a lot of guys that they brought in.
Sure.
For the show.
Sure.
The students did a great job. Sammy is he's still training. It was his debut in the Ladder Royal, which is the battle royal that turns into a ladder match with 6 people left.
Yep.
And he had the most going on. He had a huge reaction from the crowd. Excuse me. All around, I mean, you had 3 House of Glory guys in there. I don't know where Steve Pena wrestles, but I mean, all kinds of guys. This guy, Matthias Glass, the Jewish guy. I mean, everybody did it. Everybody did a fantastic job, and it didn't feel like students. You know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah. No. And
there were storylines. There was chicanery.
Very cool. Yeah. No, I'm not trying to bash it or anything.
No,
I just found that statement
it was
a little tough to believe.
It was a big statement.
Okay.
But I also was extremely disappointed by Great Balls of Fire.
Okay.
So.
Well, we will definitely get there, but we are in this corner right now.
We are.
So I want you to tell me what it's like being a referee.
Okay. It's
First of all, I guess let's back it up a little bit. Like, how much refereeing experience do you have as like within the school itself?
So 3 years ago, when I was training like every day, I reffed like a YouTube video taping, and we still weren't stopping and going. It was live. It was recorded live, but there wasn't really an audience. It wasn't the biggest show of the year. This was a much different experience, and it was the first time I had reffed in quite some time. I got a really good refresher the day before, but that's about it. I got really good feedback about it. I
sure.
want to get a lot better.
But like, what are some of the nuances that someone like listening, even though they're obviously anyone listening to this is a huge mark, but sure. Like, what are some of the things that like stand out about being a referee that somebody might not know?
A guy who I talk to on Facebook rather often, I'm a huge fan of one of his bands from back when I was in bands like 10 years ago, didn't know I was there. I saw him from the ring and was like, oh, cool, Shadow's here. And I wanted to talk to him afterwards. I didn't see him. The next day, I messaged him on Facebook, or I was like, hey, so you were at the PWA show last night, right? He's like, oh, yeah, that shit's great. I'm like, I was reffing. He's like, you were there? I'm like, I reffed 4 matches, including the main event.
But that's good, though. That's what you're supposed to be.
Exactly. But an aspect of it that maybe a listener might not be aware of is that you are wholeheartedly as invested a performer as anyone in the ring. You can't just like chill, and then count 3 when they're on the ground and count 10 when they're outside. You are, you're genuinely, you're checking to see if they're choking them. You're trying to get them off the ropes. You're trying to get that pinfall. I mean, when it's like, schoolboy, flip up into a crucifix, flip up into a, that shit is you're up and down and up and down and up and down.
Sure. Now, outside of the physical stuff, like I know that a role of a referee in the WWE is a lot of times to communicate, to help communication in the ring.
Sure.
Was there some of that in your capacity this time, or not so much? Just in that
it's a really delicate way to talk about it because you are, you're part of the show as well.
Sure.
But you're in this instance, Kara, who is the promoter, happens to be sitting at ringside. So if she needs to get your attention, she can. You are communicating with the wrestlers. If there's somebody on the outside of the ring that you that either needs to be involved or not involved, you're communicating. You're keeping time. You're making sure people don't go over. You have to wear a watch, and you have to be.
See, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, congrats, bro. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I will.
But to put the emphasis on more so at least a little bit on these guys because they did a fucking killer job. They did a complete 8-man tournament in one night, and they had the ladder royal. A lot of storylines advanced really well.
Great. And those are going to carry on for Friday night fights?
Friday night fights, or, I know that Nathaniel Carr and Nathaniel Carr is a student who's been at it for like 4 years, so he works too, but he works for other companies. He just is also still training with the school and helping out the younger guys, and I'm way older, but me too.
That's awesome, dude.
Well, him and Dan DeMann has been at it for years and years. He's like 40 years old. He wrestles all the indies. He wrestles, I think, for a living. So, you're talking about
sure
all this different stuff gelling, and they have a feud that goes to other companies.
Very cool. So give us a plug of exactly what you're talking about, where we could find them, where we could check them out.
Yeah, just PWA Pro Wrestling Academy in Connecticut, in Cheshire, 327 Sandbake Road. The next one's on the 21st. I'll probably be reffing. You want to come check it out?
Very cool.
And they put on a fucking hell of a show every time. It's not just the one big one.
Awesome. That's PWA. So another huge show from NEW, who is on a real roll right now, I feel like. I know they were constantly running shows, but NEW to me feels like one of the premier indies, period, these days.
They've got huge names all the time.
So this coming Friday night at the Danbury PAL, that's the Police Athletic League for you imbeciles, they're going to have, it's called the NEW Fight Future of Flight, and it's going to be Cody Rhodes versus Ricochet on the top. And a bunch of other great matches that are coming down. I know Jack Swagger will be there. We talked about that. The big guy Ryback is going to be in the building. Vinny Marseglia. I know Flip Gordon's going to be around. And there's going to be a ton of really cool stuff. I know Jerry the King Lawler is going to be there.
I think Ryback's fighting Dijak.
Really?
I think.
He was supposed to previously, and he didn't show up. But, okay. And the return
Wrecking Ball will be there.
The return of Brian Anthony will be there. So all the names you hear in Connecticut all the time, and some excellent indie guys from around the country. So looking forward to all that. Looking forward to Brian Anthony's return.
I think Cody Rhodes and Ricochet is kind of a like indie dream match.
It is. And that's
insane.
And the last NEW match I saw, the last NEW main event I saw in Newburgh last month was also a indie dream match.
Adam Cole, right?
And that was a great match, man.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to this one because I felt like Cody and Adam work very similar styles. This match is two different styles.
It's very interesting.
And Cody can fly, and I'm sure he'll do some of it, but he'll be a base, and he'll do a lot. He'll work as a heel in this match, and he'll do a lot of a lot of the psychology that Cody Rhodes is capable of will come out in this one. And a lot of times Ricochet is criticized for not having any psychology and things like that. So I am so pumped for this one. I am looking very forward.
Me too, man.
We will be there, and I think it's safe to say that at some point Shockmaster and I will do a review of that show after the fact.
Oh, sure.
As we will both be in attendance, probably sitting next to each other. With that, I am a radio personality on a local country station. It's called Kicks 1055. You can listen to me every Saturday between 3 and 7. But in the name of the NEW being right in our very backyard, I'd like to play for you folks an interview with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, that Mr. Morning and Susie had that aired this morning. You can listen to them on Kicks 1055. 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. In this first round, it's a 4-parter. They're all very short parts, but we're going to listen. This is the first time Shockmaster is hearing it. The first one, he talks a little bit about Ricochet and talks about his dad, Dusty Rhodes. Now, I will lead in with this. Mr. Morning and Susie are not marks like we are. The people listening to this show are very involved. And so this might necessarily not be the questions that I or Shockmaster would ask Cody Rhodes or any of you listening at home, but there's some great insight here, some things that I have never heard from Cody Rhodes, and I've heard a lot of Cody Rhodes interviews. So let's just kick it over to Mr. Morning and Susie.
We're talking this morning with Cody Rhodes. He's going to be coming to the pinnacle of professional wrestling Friday night.
Danbury, Connecticut.
The Danbury PAL building.
We're just kidding.
And he's going to be taking on Ricochet. You can also check out Ryback and Jack Swagger. And it's exciting. Friday night, Danbury PAL building. It all goes down with Ricochet. And word on the street right now, Cody, is he's going to kick your butt.
Word on the which street? What street are you on, man? I feel like you're on the wrong street, man.
That's right.
Ricochet's amazing, man. He's kind of like an internet GIF machine, if that makes any sense, because he does an absurd amount of high flying and just kind of like gravity defying nonsense. But this is the second time we've crossed paths, and the first time he wasn't so lucky. So you're on the wrong street, man. Nah,
yeah,
nah, for sure.
Well, listen, you come from a great background of what a family of wrestlers.
Legendary.
I mean, your dad, the late Dusty Rhodes. I mean, I remember watching him all the time. I was a big fan, and he was incredible.
It's been really nice, kind of recent years, that people have started to see his contributions to the industry outside of just the wrestling, portion of it. He's responsible for so much of like modern day what we do. Him and Vince helped, create pay-per-view, and he's one of those, we like to say he's on wrestling's Mount Rushmore, and everyone is very proud of him and miss him very much. One of the cool things about going around on my own schedule, like I've been able to do as of late, is you kind of find him in various places, like Danbury, for example. In these smaller, more intimate settings, there's a connection with him because there was a connection with the audience, so it's pretty cool.
So there you have it. That's part one. Nice little insight.
Now, is that being released on the radio in parts as well?
Part probably two different parts. There's the full interview is probably about 10 minutes long.
Okay.
It'll be on the air tomorrow morning, or it was on the air this morning. You could actually find it on the Kicks 1055 YouTube page.
Okay.
Make sure you subscribe to that channel. There's a lot of fun stuff, including some interviews from yours truly, from some famous people. More famous than Shockmaster Grizz, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah, I can't even believe it, but they're
well, that's only because I wear a mask.
Oh, okay. Under the mask, you're on par.
Yeah,
with some of the
and also,
country stars that I
and also, it's a lot of country though, man.
It is.
I don't know if I could do it.
Listen, I've come to appreciate country music a little more. Actually, kind of being able to rub elbows with a lot of these people because they're very passionate about their music, as are most artists, but they put on good interviews, unlike rappers or some rockers that I know or have interviewed. No, I'm dead serious.
Yeah, sure.
They give you the one-word answers, and they don't give you anything. None of these country people do that. They always have something to offer. They're willing to have fun with you. So I enjoy doing those interviews.
Great. Cool.
That being said, so you heard what Cody had to say about his father there, and I didn't hear. That's for the first time I've heard him say that in that way, where he likes to go around the country and he feels a little bit more intimate with these people, and therefore he gets some more positive feedback about his dad, because who only knows what he heard in the WWE. And you're kind of in that bubble, and you don't really get to have your feet on the ground as he's gotten to experience over the last year and a half that he's been in the independent scene.
Sure.
That being said, you'll enjoy this one. He had something to say about a certain NEW wrestler that you are familiar with.
I will say, and this is going to sound like it's a joke, and it kind of is, but not really. If you're at this Danbury show, you'll see I avoid a certain NEW wrestler like the plague, and that is a guy named the Wrecking Ball. Okay. Oh my gosh!
What's the beef?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to throw him under the bus here, but the beef is he just smells like beef, if that makes any sense. He reeks.
He forgot his deodorant.
I mean, and these loops, like some of these loops, I've been on 10-day loops. I've been on 11-day tour. I mean, I've been on the road since I was 20 years old, essentially. I don't think my gear has ever smelled like it'll knock you out when he walks in the room. Yeah, so.
Oh, man, shots fired on Legursky from Cody Rhodes.
That's like the funniest thing I've ever heard.
I guess, I mean, I know Wrecking Ball, and he's doing great, but he apparently stinks. Got some stanky gear.
I don't know a lot of better people. He deserves all the recognition he's gotten. He's worked really hard for it. But man, that is funny.
So he might be getting his chops busted pretty hard in the locker room back there.
I'm definitely gonna say something to him, but I'm gonna say it from far away because he's really big.
Very funny. Very funny. Well, have you heard anything about Jerry Lawler and the Ring of Honor strap from Cody Rhodes?
I haven't heard anything about Ring of Honor. I heard about they're having a match for NEW. I don't know if that's Troy, New York or not. But I know that Lawler and Cody are going to fight for the NEW title, and that Lawler's record in NEW is 84-2 over 15 years. It's something fucking ridiculous.
Well, you'll find this something interesting, because here's what Cody Rhodes had to say about that.
What's it like? I know the King is going to be there appearing. I don't think he's wrestling anymore, but the King, Jerry Lawler, is supposed to be there with you.
The King occasionally does still wrestle, and
wow.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about the King is he's made several references, because I recently won the Ring of Honor World title, and I bring it along with me, as well as the NEW title. Fans like to see it. It's cool, and I travel with it because I don't work exclusively for Ring of Honor. And he's made several veiled references at wanting to wrestle for it, and I think it's actually going to happen, which blows my mind. My dad wrestled the King in the late 70s.
Kind of like wrestling your grandfather. I mean, basically.
I mean,
oh, man.
Don't tell him that.
No, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, he'll kick your butt.
Yeah, the talk on the street will be that he's going to kill me. Yeah, no, I love that Danbury building. It's intimate. It's fun. Great fans. It's a good spot.
And so there you have it. Jerry Lawler is in contention for the Ring of Honor title, according to the champion.
That's absurd.
It is, and I was talking smack just last week about Christopher Daniels.
Yo, he thought
too old.
Right? Yo, and he thought Dolph Ziggler was going to work him out. Bro.
Yeah, I mean, Cody, but see, I feel like that goes back to what I was saying about Cody and Ricochet. I feel like Cody can do a little bit more of like a psychological match that Jerry is so good at that we know, as opposed to Dolph is a great seller, but he can be a little bit of a spot monkey sometimes.
I think it's going to be fantastic. Absolutely. I'm not talking junk about the actual match. I think it's going to be. I just remember Jerry Lawler versus The Miz. I think it was a ladder match for the WWE World Title on Raw one time, and it was like Jerry Lawler's only time challenging for the belt or some shit, and it was so good.
Yeah, it
and
was.
I don't like
remember
Lawler.
that. Yeah.
I don't like Lawler. I never did.
Really?
As a wrestler?
Sure.
Never impressed, but.
Well, okay, I will say that I never was impressed with his WWE run, but I didn't know that he was 30 years in the game by that point.
Of course.
So I went back and watched a lot of the Andy Kaufman stuff, and like Mr. Morning, that was like all he talked about all day was how, because you could tell he knew Jerry.
Sure.
And he loved the Andy Kaufman stuff. He loved like the old Bruno Sammartino stuff. So Mr. Morning was a mark at one point. He used to go out to Nassau Coliseum for a while. But with that being said, Mr. Morning might be Cody Rhodes' new mouthpiece, and you'll hear what I'm talking about in this last segment.
Well, we're glad to have you around. Glad to have you in town. And before we wrap up, I mean, the one thing that I always loved about wrestling, watching it, was the hype job that they give. When you're doing an interview like this. Now you got to face Ricochet on Friday. Anything here to hype this thing up a little bit here?
Man, you're talking to the most low-key wrestler of all time.
I know. I feel like I could almost kick your butt.
Yeah, I feel like the hype, man.
Wishful thinking, Mr. Morning.
You know what we needed? We needed Jimmy Hart.
Yeah,
we needed that megaphone.
The mouth of the South.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: Ricochet he's the future of flight. That's kind of what we've dubbed the event, and he's an absolute just aerial assassin. But you can't fly when I take away your legs. So
there you go.
I'm very much looking forward to it.
Ricochet, if you're out there, you don't mess with my boy Cody Rhodes. He's gonna take you down. He's gonna dump you in the Danbury dump. That's what's gonna happen, Ricochet.
Is there a Danbury dump?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, well, man, good finish. Good finish. Now I know.
Hey, Cody, thanks so much for spending time with us, being on the show.
And good luck tomorrow night in Danbury, wrestling, Danbury PAL building.
Thank you, sir, very much. You guys have a great day.
So that was fun.
You know what I like? He said, "Thank you, sir."
Yeah.
It's the most popular wrestler in the world. Well, in the indie world.
Yeah. So that was Mr. Morning and Susie's interview. You can check that out on the Kicks 1055 YouTube channel. Just search Kicks 1055. It'll be up there right now as you're listening to this. So go check out the full interview. There's a little bit more to it, and they had some fun with Cody. He seems like an awesome guy.
Yeah.
And like I said, that one wasn't as in depth as some of the other interviews that I've heard him with, but I've heard him on Wrestling Podcast. That's a country music radio show.
Yeah.
They talked about a little bit of some country music, and because Cody grew up in Georgia, and they talked about some other things that were that Cody's got coming up. So all in all, it's a great interview. I highly recommend you check that out. And I'm glad we got to have that as part of the rope.
That's awesome.
We got to have that as part of the rope break.
Exclusive interview with Cody Rhodes.
With that, we should get into some WWE talk, shall we? Or actually, you know what? Wrestling in general. The state of wrestling, right?
Yeah.
What do we call this segment? Chain wrestling.
We call this segment Chain Wrestling. Chain Wrestling is our free-form discussion where we transition from topic to topic and take time to tell the whole story.
So, with that, we saw, I mentioned the attempted murder at the top of the Roman Reigns one. Why don't you, what?
Well, let's stay tuned for the end of the podcast because we are going to do our count of 5 with the 5 biggest attempted vehicular manslaughters. But it's still a topic worth talking about here, too, because I have a very strong opinion on what Roman Reigns did to Braun Strowman at the end of the match.
Okay, so go ahead. Let us know what your strong opinion is.
I think that it hurts Reigns' purported toughness and his big dog status, not only to lose the match, which, I'm a firm believer that somebody can lose a match and come out of it looking good, looking strong, as long as they put up a good fight, because it is supposed to be a competition and there are always winners and losers no matter who fights who. But to have such a petty reaction to the loss, like, you lost fair and square, bro. You missed your spear and you landed in the ambulance and he closed the door. Like, you're done.
Yeah,
Good night.
But
go home.
This wasn't about winning or losing. This was a grudge match of two guys that hate each other, have tried to maim each other on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like this was Cody Rhodes and Ricochet, who have a mutual respect for each other, and they are the guys having a match and loses and fights. Like, it made Cesaro and Sheamus look terrible when they attacked the Hardys after losing for that reason. This, I disagree with you. This is an intense grudge match that really didn't have a definitive winner or loser, even though it did in name of the match, because he missed the spear and he went in. I think this is going to continue on to SummerSlam, but we'll get.
You think they're going to fight each other at SummerSlam?
If not each other, they're going to keep it going. They might fight each other, or maybe take SummerSlam off. You know, with like a 4-way,
with Reigns and
with Joe and Brock at SummerSlam. You do the four. You do the four of them.
Oh,
that would be cool. You know, we can get into that later, but you know, if you have, so you saw the excellent segment on Raw with Reigns, Joe, and Brock.
I did not see it. I read about it.
It was phenomenal, excellent stuff. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure they were kind of shooting off the cuff. I don't think it was very scripted.
No, I heard Reigns was trying to just be like, it's me, and Joe was like, dude, you haven't even beaten me.
Oh, they hit all the points. All three of them did a excellent job. And it seemed like they were stepping on each other, but not stepping on each other in like an uncomfortable way. It was you could tell it wasn't scripted, but if it was scripted, it was great. And I don't think any of those guys are that good. It was just, I highly recommend going to check that segment out because it was really good. And what I could see happening after that is maybe Braun comes out and he goes to hit Roman and Joe's there.
This happened?
No, but maybe next week or something on a build to SummerSlam, how we can get to the 4-way.
Okay.
Potentially. And he hits Joe or something and then causes Joe to lose the match. Mm-hmm. And now you've got a legit gripe between Braun and the Roman Reigns and Braun thing is still going. And then Brock needs an opponent. You know?
Right.
One thing I don't like, we can get into all this other stuff, but back to the thing about Roman Reigns and the finish of the ambulance match is that I don't like how Roman gets to just come out and claim that he might be the number one contender.
I agree, especially coming off a technical on-paper loss. I will remind us all of the way the Orton Rumble victory, Bray Wyatt Elimination Chamber victory, relinquishing the shot, then AJ had a shot, but then Orton wanted his shot back. That whole kind of clusterfuck as to, like, there was no definitive first contender, like, a week before WrestleMania after the Royal Rumble. So who knows? Maybe they just don't respect. Well, I don't want to say respect because they apparently know what they're doing, but maybe they just don't acknowledge the build anymore.
Well, they do, because we are seeing it now in the fact that the number one contenders match is next week. Joe had a great showing against Brock, so he deserves it. Roman lost, so he doesn't necessarily deserve it. Put them both together.
So Braun, I'm not saying your logic's faulty. Your logic is spotless, but by that logic, Braun Strowman is the number one contender.
Sure, probably should be, but
he's the only person we're talking about who won his match. And Rusev went on Twitter,
but they don't know what his physical state is.
Right. Well, and that's a great way to remove him and keep him looking strong.
But he walked away.
He did.
So you got to do something.
Yeah.
The fake blood looked like shit.
Yeah, the whole segment looked like shit.
You thought so?
That was awful.
Why did you, as someone who really like has a great appreciation for all things Attitude Era, why did you not like that? Because I thought it was good.
I think it was too Attitude Era. I didn't like that shit when it happened in the Attitude Era.
So that's all that happened.
The
in the
milk
Attitude
truck. There was wrestling.
Not on Raw. There wasn't.
No, not on pay-per-view. Maybe
Vince Russo didn't book a match past 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
And so that's all that there was. A lot of, there was only chicanery.
I mean, you can ask the Warziniacs when that stuff started happening, we were watching cruiserweights.
Sure.
And Chris Jericho in WCW, Eddie Guerrero, like all that shit.
Sure.
And ECW. When the Attitude Era was in its full swing, like when the Ministry of Darkness and all that shit was going on, I was watching ECW. I would tune into Raw because that was, you grew up on it. You still had The Undertaker in there. When Austin wrestled, it was good. When The Rock wrestled, it was good.
Sure.
But I was obsessed with ECW from 98 to like 2002.
Okay. All right. But I think that in this case, the sheer like violence and attitude, and in my opinion, that was a double turn. I really feel like Roman Reigns went full heel there, and Braun went the opposite. And I know there's all that gray area, especially with these two, and that's fine. I don't necessarily have a problem with there being some guys that are tweeners and some guys that are basically baby faces and some guys that are heels. I don't really have a problem with that, as I've heard on other broadcasts where they want something a little bit more cut and dry. But I thought in this case, more so than ever, there's a cut and dry heel and a baby face, and a big factor that went into that was this scene with the ambulance.
Sure.
And I thought that it did a good job of building some suspense, and I thought Kurt Angle looked good doing it. With the concern for Brock and there being Braun and there being an actual victim in there and all that stuff, and then he gets out. And
I just thought it was really out of character for Reigns.
Okay, but it was a turn.
Yeah.
So
there, yeah.
Because even like when he came to the ring that night, his facials were different. He was like very angry looking. He was a straight up heel last night. On Monday
Raw.
night. Yeah.
Well, hey, maybe they finally did it. Pulled the trigger.
Sure.
Admit it.
Maybe we'll see.
There was a really funny John Cena had Ask Me Anything, and somebody was like, "Why don't you ever turn heel?" He's like, "I turned heel like 10 years ago, bro. When my music hits, they say I suck and they boo me. I've been a heel for 10 years. Where have you been?"
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, you make stellar points. I think the bigger point I get out of that is that they're just like kind of like shooting in the dark, and I don't even know if they know what the main event of SummerSlam is going to be right now.
Yeah. So was there anything else on the Wrestling Observer? Oh my God, I am tired. But is there anything else on the Great Balls of Fire? First of all, it's the inaugural Great Balls of Fire, so that means we're getting this stupid fucking pay-per-view again.
They made sure that we knew.
Yeah.
They're doing it again. It's like we paid way too much in royalties for this fucking song for you to never hear it again.
So was there anything else on that show that either stuck out for you either way, good or bad? Besides all the blood.
No.
Okay.
Obviously, they're taking drastic steps towards getting the Hardys into the broken gimmick. And then I read about Raw too that.
Okay, well, let's talk about the broken gimmick. So, I saw it. Mm-hmm. I saw Raw, and there was without a doubt they were in character. We hadn't seen anything from Jeff, like alluding to the broken universe at all. It's only been Matt doing a word here and there and the delete sign. And
Twitter and, the facial, the big silly grin.
Right, but this, I'm saying, was whacking you over the head. Jeff used the term obsolete in his accent, and Matt turns around after that and says, maybe we're broken. Like, it was an entire thing. And to me, that says that they're talking to TNA,
trying to make it happen.
Christ, whatever.
GFW.
Anthem is the company, right? Because they went too far with it to not get sued.
Right, and Jeff Jarrett is saying, like, nope, we didn't give them permission. But Rebby Sky's saying they did. Matt Hardy's saying they did. They're doing it on TV.
They did, Slapnuts.
Come on.
You did it.
And you probably fucking lost. You probably don't want to admit it.
No, the WWE probably paid them.
Yeah.
That's probably it, you know? And I think because we found out that there weren't really any talks before.
Right.
And the WWE wasn't interested.
Mm-hmm.
But the WWE's been doing a decent job of listening to their fans.
And they have done an even better job, I think, of acknowledging what has happened before. I think they're getting to a point where it's like, yeah, okay, we admit it. There's other wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, Samoa Joe.
Sure. You know, and I really don't have too much to complain about. You know, we all complained about Triple H and Stephanie every week. Like, we lost
They're not there.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that the Kurt Angle thing is going to have something to do with Stephanie.
Do you?
It's gotta. They left that open.
As soon as I realized that Dixie Carter was on that thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you mentioned this before. Now,
yes.
Dixie, I didn't watch the thing yet.
Me neither, and I'm going to.
Definitely going to. We got I don't know if it's a first look
Huge
or a
Kurt Angle mark.
No, it's a full out 24,
yep.
right? It's a full out 24 about Kurt Angle.
About his time away, really.
Right. And in it, in the most shocking appearance, I think.
Since Eric Bischoff.
Yeah. Even more so shocking than.
The only reason I have my theory is because of that precedent. Because they brought Eric Bischoff on TV on an on-air role.
Right. And
so I'm thinking.
We'll see. I think there's a big difference between. Okay, so what Bear is saying is that. What?
Yeah.
Is that Dixie Carter has something to do with this Kurt Angle text message Corey Graves thing. Not only that, but that Dixie Carter is going to end up with an on-camera role.
Even if it's only for a week or two.
Okay.
Leading into SummerSlam or something.
I hope that happens. I really do. What I will say is this. Dixie wasn't that fucking good.
Oh, she's terrible.
And B, to quote the great Jim Cornette, B is that I don't think the audience knows her enough for Vince to put her on camera. It's not Eric Bischoff.
Right. No, I know.
There's a big difference there.
Sometimes my fantasy booking
is self-serving.
Plays it up to the marks. Yeah.
Well, okay. Listen.
So to me, that would be the most fantastic storyline. Like the storyline is that she only let him wrestle because they were sleeping together or something. And
maybe that doesn't matter that the casual fan doesn't know her because, as we're seeing more and more these days, the casual fan might not necessarily exist anymore.
Right.
It might just be all of us.
Yeah.
So that's fine, and then we'll know, and then it'll be good. And also, if you don't know who she is, it's still a scandal that you can get behind and understand.
But at the end of the day, knowing the McMahons, knowing Triple H, and knowing that Angle's most likely first match back is going to be against Triple H, you got to assume that it's like an affair with Stephanie or something.
Right. And they left that whole thing open. There has been a affair thing in the past with Kurt and Stephanie. So I think that's where we're going to go. And then, like you said, it opens the door for Triple H versus.
I just hope it's at SummerSlam.
Kurt. Yeah, you're.
I don't want to wait till WrestleMania.
I don't think we're going to wait that long. I
think
it's going to be out that long.
Because I think he's going to have at least like.
What do you think Corey Graves has to do with this situation? Just that they want him involved more. He's that good. He's good. He's great.
He's
on
really
camera.
good. Yeah, on camera and on the mic.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe, or he's I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. What do you think of the Enzo and Big Cass saga?
I like it, and I like how dominant Cass was over Enzo in their match. It wasn't exactly exciting to watch, but it made its point. I do wish Enzo had at least a little bit of a fight at all.
I thought it should have been a squash for what it was. I go back to the fact that these guys still had a lot more in the tank as a tag team.
A lot more.
A lot more in the tank as
Mike
a tag team.
Oh, Stevie. We walk into Mike Wierzeniak's house to watch this pay-per-view, and Stevie goes to me, he goes, Enzo and Cass broke up. And I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah. And Mike's like, do you know why, Uncle Bear? And I'm like, no. So they show the video leading up to it, and Stevie's like sitting there sucking his thumb, like gigantic saucer eyes, just watching.
They're over, man.
Yeah.
They're over with the kids.
And then Enzo walks out of the ring, and he says every word of the whole damn thing.
So I had a certified G-shirt on in the deli down the street over here on the Four Corners, the mobile.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a Sunday morning, and as usual, I was hungover, maybe a little stoned. But I'm standing there, and this little kid is like staring at my shirt. And I smirk at him and stuff. And then he's staring at his shirt, and then like I see him lean over into his mom and stuff, and like she like looks at me and she smiles too, and I started laughing, and she was like, and I looked at the kid and I was like, I'm sorry that they broke up, man. And the kid, like, just like you said, big saucer eyes, like his head sunk a little bit, and his mom goes, yeah, he was talking about it all the way over here. Like, so these guys were over with the children, not just, I thought might be just us, but that goes to
they were massively over. And the only reason I know they were over with kids is because of Stevie.
Right.
You know, and Mimi, the like 3-year-old baby girl also. They both, actually Stevie and Mimi are like, we're like Enzo and Cass, because Stevie's 5 and he's bigger.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what do you think about what they've done with Cass, though? Like, do you think, like, to me, he looks like Test minus the test.
Wow. I sure hope he's better than that.
Oh, he's already tenfold better on the mic.
Yeah.
Than Test.
Yeah.
But
and his boot looks better too.
Yes. Listen, he just looks like him. That's all I said, minus the test, because he's not exactly cut up.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think they could have done, if they were going to do this and hot shot the breakup, why not give him some good music? Give him something. He has nothing to define himself right now.
Yeah, well, I like his attitude. I do like his
Sure.
attitude. It's kind of more like, hey, listen, it had to happen, and I'm going to be the Universal Champ. So
Yeah, and he spit a very, very venomous promo on this past Monday night. But the music sucks, dude.
Yes.
The music is terrible.
Yep.
It makes no sense. The Titantron is okay, but he is what Enzo said he was.
yeah, you don't
He's
want
a
it to be
7-foot guy, 7-foot catchphrase that he wrote.
Yeah. So I don't know. Did Enzo sell just the beatdown, or was he vocal and like present on Raw?
I didn't see much of a presence from Raw.
Okay.
Let me just. I don't think that there's any downside to Cass, and I definitely think they needed to be split up at some point for him to move on. But the fact remains for me is that it just didn't seem like that. Oh no, there was no Enzo on Raw. It was Big Show who came out, and they're gonna have probably a match. It's not gonna be a pay-per-view match. It'll be a one-off. But listen, I'm cool with that.
They could fight at SummerSlam.
I don't think they're gonna go that far. That might be Enzo and Cass again. Or because you're not going to want to go that far. I thought Big Show did some good stuff with building Braun Strowman up.
Yeah.
So maybe it can go that way. What did you think of? What do you think's going on with Finn Balor?
Absolutely nothing.
Man, it's just like feud after feud that ends.
And he didn't show up on the pay-per-view.
Well, he's been in a feud with Elias Sampson that didn't belong on that pay-per-view.
Sure.
So
and then what are Rollins and Wyatt accomplishing by fighting each other?
God.
That's what I'm saying about the pay-per-view.
That is terrible.
Is that nothing progressed, nothing was worth watching storyline wise.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be though, and I thought the pay-per-view over-delivered for that reason, because it was supposed to be just a throwaway Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view.
Yeah, like an In Your House.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't supposed to be anything. And going into SummerSlam, knowing which directions they go, I just thought the show over-delivered, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to see what the Hardys can get out of Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows.
Yeah, that should be cool.
And they got a little bit of a personality to them this week.
Well, and I love that the Revival came down and beat them up, too.
Oh, man, that was a great segment in general. I thought it was really good. The only thing is, like, I love the Revival, but they look... They're so short compared to the Hardys and obviously.
Well, if they were standing next to Gallows, I could see it. Are they that much shorter than the Hardys?
Yeah, the Hardys are tall, dude. The Hardys are from the Attitude Era. They were small guys, but they were from the Attitude Era. Like when you stand next to the new guys, they're all bigger, except for Sheamus and Cesaro, who are bigger.
Right.
So.
The Raw tag scene is pretty lit.
Yeah. I think there was a little bit more in Cesaro and Sheamus as baby faces, but then the Hardys came back and they turned heel, and you had to have some heels.
Sure.
So that was cool. Goldie and Truth are just dying a terrible death from where it was.
Really?
Yeah, the segment was bad on Monday night, real bad. And and it was surprising. I think you can do like Goldust and Finn.
I'm such a Goldust mark, man.
Me too.
Yeah.
Do Goldust and Finn. You've got that kind of mystique world. Goldust would do great with the demon thing, and so would Bray Wyatt. Like, those are the things. If they're going to have these, there are plenty of these characters. The Broken Hardys can fall into that crazy fucking universe, and I would love all that, in my opinion. And I think the matches could be good too. It just seems like they're going so far with all these guys and not pulling the trigger eventually.
Well, that's what I've said about Raw is you have like 15 main eventers. Everybody could be Universal Champion tomorrow. The only people feuding over the Intercontinental title are Ambrose and Miz. Mm-hmm. Everyone else is like too high up for the IC title, but nobody's good enough to fight Brock Lesnar is kind of like the climate they've created.
A little bit.
You know?
But until this now. Now, we know Roman Reigns...
And then you've taken Roman Reigns back down to the same level as all the rest of them.
Yes, by making him lose, I could see that a little bit. But this segment on Monday night really did a lot for both Roman Reigns and Joe, bringing them to that level with Brock Lesnar. And I think it's going to continue. One thing I don't like, I don't need to see Dean Ambrose or Seth Rollins be partners at all. It sucks. That's really stupid.
Yeah.
And
the worst part is there's 3 guys they're fighting, so
you
don't want the Miztourage to be...
And that's not going to happen right now anyway.
That shouldn't be what reunites the Shield.
I like the Miztourage, I'll tell you that. But it's not. They shouldn't be what reunites the Shield. And it's just weird, like Dean turns around and goes, let's fight our own battles. I don't need you to come help me out, as Seth did it. I like the redemption thing from Seth Rollins. I think that's going kind of cool.
Sure, because he did it with Reigns too.
Right, and he is that character. His character is like, I think it's supposed to connect with like teenage guys. You know what I mean? Like fighting themselves and like doing all that kind of thing.
Sure,
I think that works, and it does work for Rollins.
And Rollins has come out and said, like, I was tempted by a bunch of power and. I got over it.
Sure.
So that's kind of it's cool. Character growth.
It is cool. It is cool. But I thought that was some things. One thing I really like about Raw that I'm interested to see if this is just a Paul Heyman thing or a WWE planting seeds thing, or maybe it'll turn into that. It's definitely a Paul Heyman thing, but maybe it'll turn into planting some seeds. Heyman keeps saying that Joe is the Samoan that the rest of the Samoans hate. And that he is the Samoan that got exiled from the island and all that stuff. And I think that's a cool storyline if you can go after that one. Because it's all kind of semi-true in that he's not part of the NOI family and all that. That would be really interesting stuff. But that's enough about Raw. We don't have much time at all, but we should just run down the Battleground card real quick.
Sure.
Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, sounds good. Is that this coming Sunday?
Yes.
No fucking way. Guys, slow down.
And like Smackdown last night or 2 nights ago was just nothing. That show was nothing.
Yeah. I
Zero.
read results. It was pretty bland.
So lame. So we can just go down this card and talk about what we know.
Sure. Usos in the New Day is good.
Absolutely. And the rap battle was so much fun.
Yo, Mega Ran was in the rap battle. Do you know Mega Ran?
I do not know who that is.
I'll send you a song. Anybody listening to this, Splash Woman on YouTube. Splash Woman. Mega Ran to like 8-bit Mega Man music, rapping about how Mega Man fought a robot and fell in love with her to fight Dr. Wily. It was like it's like the dopest song of all time. I heard it on the Jurassic 5 Pandora a couple of years ago, and fucking Xavier Woods hands the trombone. He goes, "Yo, Mega Ran, hold this," and I was like, "No way!" And then I looked it up, and it really was him.
Well, that makes a lot of sense of why Xavier Woods is into him with the video game thing and all that. That's a little too nerdy for me. Wrestling is as far as my nerdiness. I get all my nerdiness out in wrestling. When I put the rap music hat on, I'm a little different. So the Mega Man raps might be a little too nerdy for me. I don't know.
You have to listen to it. It's a love story. I'm gonna make sure you listen to it.
All right,
it's
cool.
really good, and all you cats at home listen to.
Cool. I am looking forward to that. So that was a good segment. The Usos are killing it right now. This is perfect for them. This is them. And we always talk about the best wrestling personas are that persona turned up to 10.
Exactly.
And
an
that's what this
extension
is.
of your personality.
And that's what this is.
Yeah.
So looking forward to this match. I think the New Day might win this one.
Yeah, cool.
It's going to continue though.
Yeah.
All right.
I like. I think the New Day can hold the tag titles at any time, and I don't think there's any problem with that.
Shinsuke versus Baron. Interesting. This should be pretty hard hitting. You know, Shinsuke incorporated a lot more. Has been incorporating a little bit more strong style than he has.
Has he?
Yeah, a little bit. But
I don't know, man. I just don't give a shit.
Okay.
About that match.
You don't care about that match?
I think it's because of Baron Corbin, and I think they've saturated SmackDown with Shinsuke. I don't think he should wrestle on Thursday or Tuesday at all, ever.
Okay.
I don't think he should talk because he can't.
No, he shouldn't talk.
I don't think he needs a mouthpiece either. He comes out and the
No.
people are chanting his music. He doesn't need to say shit.
Sure.
In my opinion. But
I actually
I get angry about it.
I actually agree with you there. But I don't know, man. Like Shinsuke is a star, so you gotta keep your stars hot and do the best you can with them and really push them forward. So, Charlotte, Becky, Natalya, Tamina, Lana, and a number one contenders fight.
Where's the ladder? They're not doing a ladder again?
No,
not a third time.
Whatever. That all those women can wrestle their ass off, and it's except for Lana. And it's all they're not doing anything on both sides of the ball. On Raw and SmackDown with the women. It's just not right. And that kind of posed my question about the Mae Young thing. Like, so where are we going to go with this? We're not doing anything with the women we got now. Anyway.
Well, okay, so on the one hand, you say we're not doing anything. We're not doing enough. That's for sure, storytelling-wise.
We're not doing anything.
It's just a bunch of...
These are all diva... This is diva booking.
It's a bunch of half characters who can wrestle really well that aren't really doing much. I understand that. But we've in the last year we've seen the first Hell in a Cell, which was the first women's main event of a pay-per-view for WWE. We've seen the first and second Hell. I want to call it Stairway to Hell because we were talking about ECW.
Yeah.
What's it called?
The
ladder match.
The Money in the Bank.
Yes. The first women's tables match. They're...
Yeah, but those are all gimmick matches that... Whatever.
All I'm saying is that the women are getting... at least they're not the popcorn match anymore.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They're getting...
But there's
going to be a women's Royal Rumble, and it's probably going to be this year.
Probably.
I hope it is.
Yeah, that'll be cool. That'll be cool. But the fact remains is that, like, these type of matches and what we've seen over the last 2 months, I will say, it has been diva booking.
They watered down.
They don't even give them the time. How are they going to get a good match out of this with 6 women in the same match? Like, it's just not going to have 5-way. Sorry.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I agree. You're wasting Charlotte, Becky, Natalya, and Tamina.
I agree.
That could be 2 matches. That could be 2 good matches.
Totally. Interesting thing happened over the weekend is that AJ Styles won the United States title at a Madison Square Garden house show. We used to hear about this stuff a lot back in the day. Remember, they would do because there was only TV for like an hour or 2 every week, and they wanted you to go to the house shows. Usually, the TV matches were just, hey, come see us live. Here's what you master, and it was always anything could happen in the WWF.
Diesel beat Bob Backlund for the world title in 5 seconds.
That was at the Garden also.
Yep.
Sure, and even in the 80s, it used to happen even more so.
Samoa Joe beat Finn Balor at a house show for the NXT title.
That's right. So I liked this. I thought this was. I thought that's pretty cool. AJ is amazing. So still looking forward to him and Kevin Owens. The one thing is that it's a little too much of America versus foreigners.
Well, yes,
there's a lot going on
at the same time.
It's the only thing on SmackDown.
Wrestling will at times mirror the political climate. With this whole Trump and Russia thing, people are. WWE is chock full of conservatives who are really focused on stuff like that.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
But I want to throw this out there real quick before we go on to that. AJ Styles was the last really good WWE World Champion, right? How did Orton get it? Who did Orton? Oh, Orton beat Wyatt. Yeah. And Wyatt won it in the chamber.
Right. From
Cena, who beat AJ, right?
Yeah.
Okay. AJ Styles is probably the last really good WWE champion. Kevin Owens
I guess.
Was the Universal. I'm just saying in recent memory, you've got a Universal champion.
I like Randy Orton. For the love of God.
Yeah, but this reign wasn't very good. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that was because the creative fucked it up.
Yeah.
The matches were actually good.
The
Minus the stupid gimmicks, but
Yes.
like he was,
you've got a recent WWE World Heavyweight Champion against a recent Universal Champion for the U.S. title. Is that diminishing the U.S. title, or is that elevating the title? Is that diminishing the guys?
It's elevating the title. It's diminishing the guys a little bit because they're not on top.
But if you've got Mahal, if you got Jinder with the belt, and he needs to because we're trying to break into the Indian market more, doesn't that? I mean, I think that might just elevate the title straight up. And I wish they'd do the same thing with the IC title, to be honest. They were doing that with the IC title on SmackDown.
Yeah. I mean, Miz should be the one with the title, and he's doing a good job with it.
Yeah.
It's just that he doesn't have any opponents. Because everyone, like you said, is
going for the Universal title.
right.
Yeah. Which they can't win because Brock Lesnar is invincible.
Yeah,
So
it's strange and Raw. And it's 3 hours, too. And they just need to slow it down with all the hot-shotting and then D-pushing.
Sure.
Really weird. But, yeah, that's a good point. Excuse me. But I think, the belt definitely gets elevated. And AJ and Kevin are so good that it's just, I don't think there is any problem.
No, I love the fact that they're wrestling so much.
When you get a chance to go check out that Kurt Angle thing, before that, there's a first look, so it's only a half hour, and it's only like a half hour long preview of the Kevin Owens DVD, and it was awesome. They got all this footage from Ring of Honor, and like they go into Sammy's relationship with him, and all these guys that knew him back in the day, and all that. And it was how they didn't think he was going to make it
When he was Mr. Wrestling, and he was just a chubby guy in a singlet.
All that stuff was there. I definitely recommend go and watch that. But looking forward to this match. It's going to be a great match. It probably just won't really progress too much storyline wise there. And then the main event is Jinder Mahal defending his WWE Championship against Randy Orton in a Punjabi prison match, the first one in 10 years.
Yeah.
So I think this one, I enjoyed the last Jinder and Randy Orton match because of the nostalgia, and I really liked, I said on this podcast, the way they worked it.
Sure.
The way they worked the match was a real old school style, which I am a huge fan of. And
well, I think picking Randy Orton to be the guy to kind of put Mahal over is the best thing you could possibly do. Because he's legit. He's, 10, 11-time world champ.
Yeah, and he can carry a match that Jinder's capable of.
And there's so many guys out there, so many wrestlers out there who say that Randy Orton is among the best in the world.
All the wrestlers, all the fans.
As I roll my eyes. It's great. They're doing the right thing.
So what do you think about the Punjabi prison match? How do you think this is going to go? Do you think that this is going to make up for the two lackluster ones? So the two previous Punjabi prison matches
It's just so racist in WWE. Why does it need to be the Punjabi prison if it's just because it's
I think
Mahal?
I think this is less racist than a lot of situations.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's just such a driving force. Like you just said. Like patriotism and kind of like a crippling fear of the outside world. Yeah, but I'm sorry, go on. The second he said that he was doing the Punjabi prison, I'm like, of course he is.
I don't know. I'm interested to see if they could pull a good match out of this one.
I'm sure they can.
The last two were garbage. Well, but the players involved were an out of shape Big Show who was a fill-in because Khali couldn't wrestle.
Yep.
And that was a really antiquated finish. It didn't seem like it was supposed to happen that way because Taker fell through the thing.
And they, it seemed to me like they just wanted to use it because they made it. They were like, oh, shit.
And they made a toy about it.
Yeah.
And then the second one was the Great Khali versus Batista.
Ooh.
So.
And I don't hate Batista.
Me either.
But
nobody wants to see that.
That's awful.
Yeah. So this will be interesting to see how they work this one and how it goes. I don't find it as racist as you might. I think there's plenty of other things that are worse. Like the fact that every black wrestler just has to be happy or angry.
Or on the same team.
Or dancing.
Yeah. Oh, man. But I've said it before. I don't think we have so many loyal listeners who've heard me say this. A, I love Steve Blackman. B, there's nothing I love more in wrestling than a dance-off.
I understand that. Dance-offs are great, but usually...
Remember the Human Tornado?
Sure.
Oh, man. That was some dancing.
But it doesn't have to be everybody's gimmick.
No, of course not.
So that's that. Who do you think's going to win the Punjabi Prison?
Oh, Jinder Mahal's not losing that belt for a minute.
Okay.
I can't see it. It's not going to be Orton. And I'm not saying that because he's not deserving or because it shouldn't. I'm saying that because you're establishing Jinder Mahal. That's the entire point of this program.
And that's how it should be if they're going to establish him. But do you think they're going to hot potato this belt a little bit? Maybe SummerSlam revisit it again? I don't know. You got to blow it off after the Punjabi MC, right? Punjabi MC. I'm fucking tired, dude. I've been here a long time. Mimi. No, that's racist. Whatever you just did.
It was the music.
I'm kidding.
Punjabi MC made a song.
Oh my God. I'd like to see who else could he feud with, Jinder?
Cena.
That's what it is.
He
it's
wants
Cena
that
at
match.
SummerSlam. It's Cena at SummerSlam.
You think?
Yeah, that's what it is.
And then, he could feud with AJ Styles eventually down the road.
Yeah, cool.
He's got people.
SmackDown's whack again.
Shinsuke.
It used to be good. It used to always suck, and then it sucked, and then it was good. And then...
Well, on paper, it's the better show, in my opinion.
I disagree these days, man.
If you read the names, it's like, oh, wow, that looks great. And now it's just... You know why it was good for a minute? The fucking Miz. That's it.
Yeah. And Samoa Joe is like my favorite
it.
wrestler ever, so...
Right. And I like Joe.
And he's doing great.
He is. He's getting props. Deserved props. We have to talk about the Paige thing. Right, the Del Rio thing.
You know what? We'll talk about that next time. I'm exhausted with those two.
Yeah.
I hope they get themselves some help because there's obviously some serious problems there. They both have had mental issues, and they make a toxic combination.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. This recent thing, but yeah, we don't have to talk about it. I just didn't want to not touch on it at all because I don't want to seem out of touch.
Yeah, but. I mean, it's interesting that I guess we were talking about it. It's interesting that. It's interesting that he's suspended without any sort of charges or anything yet.
Right.
GFW has said that they are talking to police. I don't know how the fuck you're allowed to the police are just allowed to tell the guy's employer what's going on.
Right.
That doesn't seem right to me.
No, it doesn't. But
Paige is what? She's denying the whole thing, right?
She basically came out and said, like, listen, everybody, yeah, we kind of had a spat, but you're blowing it out of proportion. I threw a beer on him. That's why he smelled like alcohol. She's saying he doesn't beat me at all, even though the family is saying they have photographic evidence that he does. There's somebody said that someone who was there said that she screamed that he had been doing coke for 2 days. And it's his rants, these huge profanity-laden rants. He has admitted that he's wasted. He's like, I'm really drunk, and that pussy with the big nose can come fight me. And it's like,
yeah, interesting.
It
is scary.
You see these awful scenarios, and I'm not saying this is one of them, but like we're someone, male or female, in an abusive relationship, like. Enables it, and you don't want to think that that's what's happening. No, not only that's and not only that, but when we've seen in music a lot and entertainment in general, when these kind of toxic relationships kind of spiral out of control completely and they're in the limelight, often doesn't turn out so well. No, so for either party. So I really hope that at first, before we started seeing all this drama, and then her family was saying they hate him, I'm like. Okay, well, whatever. You just don't like it because it's... And they're not... They're all known for their own... We've got a movie coming out. It's probably going to be a good movie. Exactly. So they're all known for their own situations as well. Sure. So, and you don't... With wrestling, you don't know what's at work and what isn't. And you're just like, is this Kardashian shit? Right, because they want to keep themselves relevant. Yeah. He wants to be a top guy. He's got Cody breathing down his neck with it being a top guy. Breathing down his neck, shit. Especially after this. You're not even going to be on TV, dude. So,
That's unfortunate, and the WWE can't really step in. I don't
No,
know why
'cause-
they can't, because she's under contract. They can step in a little bit.
I don't know.
If they
what
can send
happened.
PJ to go take care of himself, why can't they help out somebody else? I don't know the scenario. I'm
Right.
just saying.
Right.
It's weird. It's all over the place. Who knows?
It's a very strange situation.
Yeah. Well, with that, I hate to end it on a sad note, but I don't know. We're gonna see Cody and Ricochet.
We can end it on Cody and Ricochet, and dude, Flip Gordon's hilarious. These videos with the being the elite,
yeah.
like the Bullet Club guys just shit on this guy so hard. It's hilarious.
It is funny.
I saw a picture of a fan, like a lady, like older than I am, with a picture with a sign that says "Who the fuck is Flip Gordon?" standing with Cody Rhodes, and they're both like grinning. It was like the funniest thing I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
But the future of Flight. I mean, Ricochet is like the now of Flight, and Flip Gordon might be the future of Flight. The guy's a lunatic in the ring. And the guy he's wrestling, Big Bacon Brad Hollister, is a legit, like, he's a tough guy. He's an amateur wrestling style. Like, it's going to be really good. Go on Friday.
Yeah, looking forward to this card. Now, important. At the Newburgh show, they had beer. Will they have beer at the PAL? The last wrestling show I went to at the PAL did not have beer.
Bethany, they did not. The high schools, they don't, obviously.
So probably the PAL is out.
I don't know. But yours truly is not drinking because of wrestling.
Nice.
So I try. It comes up in conversation when I'm with like people who are also training, but like,
Well, now I have all the more reason to slip a bunch of nips in my pocket.
Yes.
so that you don't see it, and that I can drink while we're watching. Anyway,
I ain't scared, homie. I've been to weddings.
that's good on you, man.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thanks.
With that was a show. A long one, too. Thank you for
Was
sticking
it?
around. For Shockmaster Grizz, the vacationing, stoned out Brett the Hitman, I am JoeMaga.
And the hardcore legend, Steve Blackman.
Peace. I hate that fucking song, dude.
Do you?
I used to love
Why?
it because I used to love it, but then like it's so catchy that it just gets like vilely disgusting, and it's been like sampled at least 150 times in some of the worst rap songs that you can ever imagine, and that the original song brings back all of the animosity to all these terrible songs.
Well, I don't know if you're on right now or not, but that's fine. But I heard the song that they sampled for "I Got 5" on it.
There's like 100 of those too.
Well, I'm assuming because it was on The Groove on XM that it was
Puff
the
Daddy one?
original. No, it was.
Oh, okay.
Like Why You Treat Me So Bad.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
That it was sampled from, right?
Yeah.
But then it's been done. Then it's been done after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been done to death.
Yeah.
The Puffy one was the worst, and my wife loves that song. Ugh, Satisfy You.
Oh, yeah. Puff Daddy sucks.
Sometimes, most of the time.
He's not on that, is he?
No.
Good.
He probably should be more so than Luda or even ODB. As much as I love him, Nate Dogg. Why the fuck is Nate Dogg in there? He's just there for the chicken. That's not a racist thing either. He's actually eating a piece of chicken.
I see it.
All right, let's get this show started.